Hey y'all! I know I just read paranormal stories, but this one came through in my email. And gonna say this really quickly, I do not read stories from my email. I solely read stories from the subreddit, but this one really caught my eye. When I saw the email, I decided to open it. I can't remember what I was doing, but I know I was bored, so I wanted to read something. I started skimming it, and this seems insane. So I'm gonna read it, and this does not mean that you can start emailing me. Please don't. I'll have my subreddit link down below. If you want to submit a story, submit it there. And I don't remember what the title was because I just sent this to myself. I copy and pasted it, but I know it's about an imaginary friend. So let's get into it. Hey Courtney, I've always wanted to share my story with you, but wasn't sure it would be received. I have to make it clear that this is 100% true, and I still struggle with visiting my mom's house to this day. Anyways, here's the story. I would like to remain anonymous for privacy reasons, and all names have been changed. When I was 5, my parents got a divorce, as many parents do for one reason or another. With the divorce came living with one parent a majority of the time and visiting the other parent every other weekend and every other Thursday. In my case, I lived with my mom and her new husband a majority of the time and visited my dad's house on the court-documented days. My new stepdad, Julian, had a nice house with 4 bedrooms in it, which worked perfectly for my sisters and I. His house was built in 1890, and there were a ton of reasons to be creeped out. Upstairs, there were 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, and us kids all stayed upstairs. My youngest sister and I shared the room furthest to the left. My stepsister, Kara, had the big room in the middle to herself, and my 2 oldest sisters shared the room furthest to the right. The upstairs is where all of the unexplained activity happened throughout the years we lived there. I was most sensitive to being able to see and speak to what I called imaginary friends. At age 7, imaginary friends are actually really normal and common because children have huge imaginations and usually spend a lot of time keeping themselves entertained. In total, I had 3 imaginary friends named Timmy, Annabelle, and Johnny. Only 2 of these were imaginary. I know the name Annabelle is cliche now since the movies about the doll were released, but keep in mind this takes place in 2006. I had no idea about the Annabelle doll or her story as the show wasn't released until 2014. Annabelle was my best friend. We played in my room all the time and I loved being with her. She was a young girl, a bit older than me at the time. Again, I was about 6 or 7. She wore a long white nightgown that was always dripping wet, so was her hair. My mom knew I had a hard time making friends, so she embraced my imaginary friends. My mom would set a plate of food out for Annabelle and leave her an extra chair after I would insist on not eating if she couldn't. Annabelle would be in the bath with me, in my room, and all about the house. My mom found it a little strange when she asked if Annabelle wanted to go to the park with me, but I told her Anna wasn't allowed to leave the house. My mom assumed this was because I was embarrassed to have imaginary friends, so she encouraged me to bring her. I told her again Anna couldn't leave. She's stuck in the house. Trying not to upset me further, we went on about our day. First red flag. Annabelle started to teach me things I shouldn't know. She started to tell me about death and how she has to be young forever because her vessel died in my house a long time ago. I didn't know what it meant to die, so I didn't think it was a scary thing. Anna told me she wanted a friend forever, and so did I, which I was too little to realize that Anna actually wanted me dead with her. My normal, excited, and energetic attitude turned to a sad and solemn one. My mother began to worry as I would tell her all the new things Annabelle was teaching me, and she told me I was no longer allowed to play with her. Anna did not like that at all. She threw my toys around and jumped on the floors, causing my mom to come into my room and yell at me, but I would be fast asleep. She never believed it wasn't me. My sisters began teasing me, telling me Annabelle had made me a weirdo. I would often hide in the closet to play with Anna so my mom wouldn't hear me talking to her. I started wandering around at night, unable to sleep. My sisters would fall asleep to VHS movies, so when the tape was over, there would just be TV static on the screen. My sisters would wake up to me inches from the TV drinking their bedside water glass while giggling as if I was watching a show. I was watching the static. This made my sisters afraid of me, so most nights they all slept together, leaving me alone with Anna. One night I was awoken by my sisters screaming, and I was standing in her room with a knife in my hand, ready to stab her. I had been sleepwalking according to the doctors, but Anna told me that she was trying to help me since my sisters were so mean. I told her I didn't want to hurt my sisters like that, and I just wanted them to be nice to me. After this incident, my mom feared for my sister's safety given my extreme change in attitude and how dangerous my behavior was. My grandma was a Christian woman, and she told my mom she believed I was being attacked by a dangerous entity. My mom separated herself from religion, so she wasn't sold on this. My mom believed I was suffering from a mental disorder of some sort. After the incident with the knife, my mom decided to send me alone to go spend the day with my dad, and she wanted me out of the house away from my siblings so they could calm down. She also wanted to explain to them that I was crazy and couldn't help what I would do when I wasn't myself. I left early the next morning once my dad got off from his 3rd shift job to pick me up and take me to his house. I was extremely confused and expressed to my dad that I would never hurt my sisters. I swore to him it was Anna and not me. To my surprise, he believed me and tried to give me a happy morning before he had to go to sleep for the afternoon. My dad's mom would watch over me while he rested for work the next night. I loved my grandma. She always took me on walks and we played at the park. I really needed to decompress that day anyways. Meanwhile, back at my mom's house, my stepsister Kara came home from practice in time for dinner approximately 5:30 p.m. Kara was unaware of the incident the night before, so when she got home, she went straight to her room to wait for dinner to be finished. My mom called for her to come down and eat as she usually does each day. No, my other 3 sisters were still in extracurricular activities at school and wouldn't be home until after 7. Kara exited her room, which was in between the 2 rooms my sisters and I shared. She looked over to see me crying on the end of my bed in the dark. She asked me what was wrong and why I was alone in the dark. I didn't respond. I just looked at her and started sobbing more. So she went downstairs to ask what had happened. Kara asked my mom, why is Paige upstairs crying on her bed in the dark? And my mom and stepdad were stunned, speechless. They stared at her for a minute and she asked again, why is she so upset? What happened to her? They sat down quiet for a moment and my mom said, Paige went to her father's house this morning. She hasn't been home all day. Kara stands stiff at the bottom of the stairs and rushes back up to prove that they must have been mistaken. When she reached my doorway, there was no one there. This incident confirmed to my mom that the unexplained actions and changes in me may have been caused by Annabelle directly. Kara was shaken up, insisting that it had to have been me sitting on the bed. It was my face, my voice crying, the clothes I'd been wearing the day before. Anna was able to mimic my body and voice perfectly. And this wasn't the last time Anna would mimic me. My mom's fears went from normal motherly fears to downright terrified for her child's life. I came home from my dad's and my mom immediately asked me to tell her if Annabelle appeared to me. She told me not to play with her or speak to her. I was playing alone in my room waiting for my little sister to come home from physical therapy and play with me. Annabelle appeared to me, but I told her what my mom said. She insisted that my mom was going to make her go to a bad place. So I had to join her to be friends forever like we promised months ago. She took my hand and I no longer had control of my body. I remember walking into the closet like I was in a dream world and the door shut by itself behind me. The door to the closet had one of those little metal slides for a lock on the handle, so the only way to lock the door was to shut the door and slide the metal on the handle on the outside of the closet. The closet door locked by itself, trapping me inside. I wasn't afraid and I still moved like I was in a dream. I stepped on a tote that held my toys to get closer to the wire hangers. Anna wrapped the hanger around the clothing rack and adjusted the rest of it around my neck. I couldn't stop my body from making moves and I could hear my stepdad calling my name from downstairs. Anna whispered to me, now jump off the box and we'll be friends forever. I jumped, and as soon as the wire hanger held the weight of my little body, my stepdad unlocked the door, threw it open, and grabbed me. He was hysterically screaming at me, but I still couldn't move my body normally. It felt so light like a feather until he took me outside of the house to rush me to a doctor. Only then could I think or move. As soon as I was out of the house, I started crying and reacting to the situation I just went through. I pleaded to my stepdad that I didn't want to hurt myself. It was Annabelle who made me. My stepdad took me to the hospital and we waited in the ER for my mom or my dad to give permission for treatment. My sisters were all left at home under the watch of Kara, unaware that I'd almost committed, given they were on their way home from school when my stepdad left the house with me. He texted that Kara would be in charge and to call if something happened. He warned them not to go upstairs until an adult came home. Kara called while we were still waiting for one of my parents to make it to the ER, and she said, Paige won't come out of her closet. She just sits there crying and screaming. I can't even touch her. My stepdad went white and said, Kara, go back downstairs right now and leave her there, in a low, serious voice. My heart grew cold knowing that my sisters were alone with Anna. My stepdad told Kara, that's not Paige. She's in the hospital with me. Take the rest of the girls and go to the neighbors until I come home. After that, my mom had the entire house blessed by a priest, and I had to attend therapy sessions for years to verify that I wasn't a danger to myself or others, since psychiatrists don't accept hauntings as a reason for a child attempting. But that's not the end of Annabelle. She stopped talking to me after the incident in the closet, but she would appear to me in the mirror. I ignored her knowing she wasn't friendly, but it's like the blessing made it difficult for her to interact with me. She wasn't completely gone. I grew up and I was in 5th grade now. My best friend Kelsey came to spend the night at my mom's with me. Kelsey and I took turns showering that night and I was in the shower while Kelsey sat in the bathroom talking to me as best friends do. Kelsey went dead silent and said with a quivering voice, "Who is that?" When I asked what she meant, she said that one of my sisters were peeking at her through the crack in the bathroom door. Again, my sisters were not home and I knew this had to be Anna. I calmly said, Anna, you are not welcome here and you need to leave her alone now. And after I said that, the door slammed shut. I told Kelsey about Annabelle. She understandably wanted to leave, but she had no way home, so she reluctantly stayed. My room was now downstairs for obvious reasons, and we laid down for bed. Kelsey woke me up in the middle of the night terrified. She said, "Does Anna have long dark hair and wear a nightgown?" I said yes, quickly and quietly. Kelsey, with tears streaming down her face, whispered, "She's standing in the kitchen, smiling at me." We both ran and slept with my mom. Kelsey left and never came back. I quit having sleepovers. Flash forward about 12 years, and my sisters started to have children of their own. Kara had a daughter, and she was about 4 years old when she started to act like she had a friend when she was at my mom and stepdad's house. For obvious reasons, Kara never let her daughter go upstairs in the fear that she may too be a victim of my imaginary friend Anna. Her fears came true when my niece was peeking up and down the stairs laughing and jumping out like she was playing peekaboo with someone. Kara asked her who she was playing with, and to Kara's horror, my niece replied, "Annabelle. She waits for me at the top of the stairs." Kara took my niece and went home, only returning if my stepdad promised to leave the door to the stairs shut completely and locked. My other sister, Kendra, had a son named Zaid. Zaid was 5 when he first started to talk about Anna, the girl on the staircase. He said she always wanted him to come upstairs and play with her in my old room. My family at this point doesn't allow children upstairs due to the dangers that Annabelle can cause. To this day, my mom can hear Anna running around playing upstairs despite all of her kids being out of the house. Even when I go over there, I can still feel her eyes on me, forever angry that I didn't keep my promise. Needless to say, my mother has a very dangerous ghost/demon girl upstairs in our childhood home, determined to have a friend forever by her side. That's the most horrific thing I have ever read in my entire life. Act like that. I knew, dude, I had a feeling when this came into my email. I was like, this is going to be absolutely insane. And that is like insane times a million of what I could have ever imagined. That's awful. And I'm like, I'm so genuinely sorry that you had to go through that. I just can't even fucking imagine. Jesus. That's a terrible, terrible story. That's so scary. That's so scary. I was gonna read other stories if this one wasn't super long, but honestly, I feel like this needs its own video because what the fuck? I feel like reading another story would just feel weird because I'm like so stuck on that. Oh my God. So that's all I'm gonna read for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any other scary paranormal stories that you wanna share with me in the community, I'll have my subreddit linked down below. But other than that, I'm gonna go and sit on this for a while. But I love you guys so much and I will see you in the next one. Bye.